Well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's been a minute. It has been a minute, ladies and gentlemen, since I have commentated, live streamed on the OCE channel. But with the season, pretty much right around the corner, about 2 weeks away, I should say. 2 weeks away, it's about time we bring back an old favourite. It's been over a season, but we did do tier 3 introductions last season. I was the only one to do one for a tier, and that went down very well. Everyone seemed to like it. So you know what? We're back for another season. Yay! Alright. It's kind of like a little bit of a rush job, Obviously, I don't have the full graphics or anything like that. It's been super duper busy on my end. So I do apologize, but hopefully for the next game, I can try and sort out something. So we're here for the tier 3 driver introductions. I'm like 99.9% sure there's going to be one for tier 4 and tier 2. That's going to be done by Perks and Kahoot. Not sure when they're going to do it, but they might do it. And I don't know if Mitch is going to do for tier 1. I have no idea. So you know what? Enough rambling, right? We've got 16 people already in the chat, like mental scenes already. What we say we kick this show on the road, Let's get this show on the road. I won't be waffling. I'll try not to waffle too much, but, I like to talk about every single thing, And you know what? We'll start with Mercedes, the defending constructors champions, Why not start with them? And it's got an all new driver lineup. Should point out there is a lot of driver changes from last season to this. Obviously due to promotion and relegation, stuff like that. So these it's going. I think it personally as the commentator. I'm speaking purely as the commentator. Nothing else. Nothing else matters right now. Just the commentator's view. Tier 3 going to be even closer than last season. And last season was pretty close. Towards the back end, it got a little bit distant, but majority of the season, it was very, very close. I mean, in the first 11 rounds, we had 10 different race winners. So, that says a lot. But yes, so we'll kick off with Mercedes and their driver lineup of the Kangaroo Guy and Sparky. So, Kangaroo Guy, new to FormulaOCE, I've seen him race in other leagues and he's pretty decent. Sparky, as everybody knows, he picked up 2 race wins last season from absolutely nowhere. And Vicky Winter for the 200 bits, absolute scenes right there. That is $2. Thank you ever so much. As I was saying, Sparky, Sparky's a decent driver, ladies and gentlemen. I do feel. As I said, he picked up 2 wins and I think another 2 podiums. So Mercedes could be the ones to watch out again. I hate to say it, but yeah, I think Mercedes are the ones to watch out. Kangaroo Guide Sparky, I think they'll be top 3 again. The Merc team, but in the standings, we do have full grid. Hopefully, we get full grids every week. Fingers crossed. Kangaroo Guy Sparky. I don't know much about Kangaroo Guy. I'm thinking top 10 somewhere. Sparky was top. He was nearly top 5. at the end of last season, so maybe it could be a surprise packet in that top 5 again. You just never know. You just never know. Sparky looks better at Mercedes than Alpine. Oh dear, it's the shots have already been fired, ladies and gentle people. So that's Mercedes done. You know, I'll try and make it as quick as possible and not to waffle on too much. King is a top runner, lol. Who knows? Anything could happen in FormulaOCE, and last season proved it. We'll move on to McLaren. Yeah, they have a new driver. Well, one new driver in that team. So Andy, FF Andy is back in that team, pretty much carrying that team last season. Oh no, that was Howdy. Sorry, that's my mistake. So Andy's back in. But new driver promotion from T4, by the way, is Car Gamer. Yeah, so Car Gamer promotion up from T4 to T3, picked up pretty late in the draft. If you haven't seen that draft, it's on YouTube right now. But go watch it after this stream. Yeah, Car Gamer, interesting choice from McLaren. Andy's is probably going to be a solid choice. I believe he's turned off a couple of assists. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It depends on how Andy goes. I think Andy might be doing bulk scoring. Or will Car Gamer be? I think Car Gamer might do the bulk scoring at the start of the season until Andy gets up to pace again. But who knows? Who knows if Andy's done much practice in this off season? You know, McLaren P2 in the constructors. They literally pipped Alfa Romeo in the constructors last season. Pretty much at the final round. Yeah, I think McLaren might be up there as well. It's all going to depend on how Andy shows up in that first, couple of rounds. First 3-4 rounds. I know the first 3 is going to be very, very important. Yeah, it's interesting times at McLaren. Where do I think they will go? I think probably in the upper echelon as well. Top 3 as well with Mercedes. I think those two teams are going to be fighting out in the constructors battle. In the championships, honestly, I don't know. This tier 3 grid is pretty stacked. So I'm looking forward to the season ahead. But anything could happen. Anything could happen. But Andy, I'm thinking top 10 in the drivers. Maybe that 6 to 10 range. I don't think Andy will be top 5 at the end. I mean, I could be so wrong. But right now, I think Andy probably 6 to 10 range. Car Gamer, interesting. Car Gamer is interesting. As I said, promotion up from T4 into T3. So the competition, goes up a notch. I know he reserved a couple of races last season in T3, did pretty well. I could see Car Gamer top 5 in the drivers, but he needs to be consistent. That's the only worry I have with Car Gamer. With Andy, you know what you're going to get, but with Car Gamer, you just don't know. So he needs to be consistent if McLaren want to take that constructors title from Mercedes. So I think Car Gamer will be top 5. I think he'll get lots of podiums, maybe 3 or 4 wins. Yeah. That's where I think a lot of pressure on Car Gamer to carry that team in the first part of the season. So if Car Gamer does to bring home the big points, I think McLaren's season might unravel pretty quickly. So those are Mercedes and McLaren done. So we'll move We'll move on to Aston. New team. Well, actually, everyone's a new team. Aston Martin has been occupied by Notorious and Rapid Clappy. So, Notorious comes down from Tier 2. He didn't race much at all in Tier 2. But with Clappy, another promotion up from Tier 4, as the chat is absolutely going wild. Talk as much. Chat, I'm doing teams one by one, okay? Just, I'm talking about all the teams. So, Aston, as I said, Notorious and Clappy. As I said, Notorious comes down from Tier 2, Clappy up from Tier 4. He was in the championship fight as well in that Tier 4 battle, but he fell away at the end. Aston, a lot of points is going to come from Clappy. If I'm going to be brutally honest, I think a lot of points is going to come from Clappy. Notorious is probably going to be second driver in that team. And that's not a shot on Notorious. It's just, how I see it in that team. Yeah, a lot of points is going to come from Clappy. Yeah, and Notorious just needs to pick up multiple P7s, P8s, while Clappy gets tries to get podiums and wins. Unfortunately, I see Aston as a mid-table team. Yeah, I don't think they'll be fighting constructors. I mean, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But at this point in time, I don't see them fighting constructors. Clap is probably a championship contender. So, Notorious, probably midfield. I want to say somewhere in that midfield. Come the end of the season. So, yeah, I think Aston probably midfield team in the constructors, like the P5, P6 area. So it could be a top 5. I just don't think there'll be a high top 5 or high P5, I should say. I think there's 14 rounds. I think they'll break the 100-point mark. Yeah, I don't think I think Mercedes and McLaren are stronger than the Aston. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Aston goes. So keen eye on Aston is definitely one of them. Yeah, so that's it for Aston. So we'll move swiftly on to Alpine. And once again, new team. Very much a new team. Interesting team, I must say. They finished P7 last season in the constructors, as I know, because Williams were fighting them in the constructors, and Alpine just pipped them at the end. So Alpine, all new driver lineup, all come from Tier 4, by the way, is Budos and Duck Puncher. So Duck Puncher, the Tier 4 champion. I hate dwelling on it, but I know there was a lot of controversy on how he won it, but it is what it is. Yeah, so we'll move. Yeah, we'll just move swiftly on from that point. But Alpine of Budos and Duck Puncher, interesting team. I think. And Hunto's absolutely going full of his chi. I think Alpine going to win the constructors with that driver lineup. I think Alpine's probably the strongest lineup on the grid. And right now, Hutto is absolutely paying me under the table right now. No, I'm just kidding. Budos is a quick driver. He reserved T4 was very, very quick. he reserved a couple of races in T3. Was also very quick as well. I think he had like a couple of top fives from memory. If I'm wrong, I do apologize, but you know, memory is not as once it's good. Yeah. So Burdos and Duck. So reigning T4 champion with Duck Puncher. Championship for T3 is gonna be maybe a stretch too far for Duck. Budos, though. I think Duck Puncher solid top 5 driver. I think Duck Puncher will win a couple of races, get some podiums as well, and Budos probably a championship contender. Yeah, with the likes of who were Kangaroo, Car Gamer, to an extent Andy as well, even Rapid Clappy as well. So a lot of competition here. I'm just basing on from last season too, because same game, you know. But yeah, I think Budos is up there, championship contender. Duck Puncher, I think, if I'm honest, probably going to be a stretch too far. I mean, as I said, I'm happy to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. But right now, with everybody on equal points, on 0 duck donuts, I think Budos has more of a championship challenge than Duck Puncher, just by looking at the grid. So, thus far, and more to come. So, yeah, it is going to be interesting. But time will only tell how this team will go. As I said, I think Alpine probably going to be Constructors champions. I mean, one of them's going to be maybe Drivers champion. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, round 1 cannot come quick enough, ladies and gentlemen. Is all I have to say. Yeah. So we'll move swiftly on to Ferrari. Big old Ferrari. Wow. Sorry, I have not been paying attention. Thank you for the follow. Before we move on to Ferrari, thank you for the follow, Cooper, Wooly, Berlamba, and I think there was one more. I can't see. Was there one more? No, there wasn't. So I do apologize for wasting everyone's time just now. Yes. So, Ferrari. So we move back on to Ferrari. So thank you to those 3 followers. Much appreciate you. Thank you ever so much for joining FormulaOCE. Hopefully we'll see you on track or in the chat whenever. So, Ferrari, new driver lineup, as obvious. It's been taken by Urban Growth and Rango Killer 80. Ferrari. Interesting team. Kind of like the Aston Martin. So, but with a difference. I don't see neither of them fighting for that championship, for the Drivers' Championship or Constructors. Urban, very, very consistent. Always up there in the upper echelon. Comes down from Tier 2. Yeah. Rango Killer stays from Tier 3. As I know, I had him in Williams, as I was the Williams TP last season. I know what Rango is like. He's a very good driver. Just didn't have the luck last season. So hopefully his luck turns around this season. So yeah, I don't think neither of them are championship championship challengers for both constructors and drivers. But I think Ferrari a solid midfield team, and I think their battle's gonna be in the constructors. Their battle's probably gonna be with Aston, as that's pretty much the only midfield team I could see that we've done so far. I mean, we've done Mercedes, McLaren, Aston, Alpine. Yeah, Ferrari at this point, their fight is with Aston. Driver standings, I think midfield. So those two Ferrari boys are probably battling Notorious. Clappy probably a little bit quicker than both Ferrari drivers, but I mean, as I said, anything can happen. Late safety cars can happen. Weather can throw a spanner in the works. You never know with Tier 3, but yeah, right now I could see Ferrari being a solid midfield team, probably that 5 to 7 range. I said Aston 5 to 6, so Ferrari's in that 5 to 7 as well. So yeah, it's big interesting for Ferrari. I don't expect them to do much. I mean, they might get the odd podium here and there. I don't think they will win a race. But it's got to be something like what was it? We had Baku last season where that was absolute chaotic. It has to be a race like that if Ferrari are to win a race this season. Yeah. Big interesting for Ferrari. As I said, I don't think they're going to do anything spectacular. I think they're a solid midfield team. I think Urban will get, his consistent top 5s. I don't think he'll get a podium all that often. But P4, P5 in that area. Rango will probably be in that same mold as well. That 5 to 7, 5 to 8 range every race, if he has the luck go his way. Because I know his pace. He's a pretty good driver. So Ferrari are not, they don't have slouches by all means, but if they both get the luck that they need, I think they'll be a solid midfield team. Maybe even pushing a top 4. But at this stage, it's 5 to 7, but they have the opportunity for that to knock on that top 4. And so far and Mercedes, McLaren, Alpine might have to watch Ferrari, come the end of the season or midway through the season as well, depending on how everything plans out. So that's Ferrari done. The chat's going off. They're absolutely seething at me saying, why am I spending so much time on Ferrari? But now Ferrari is done. We'll move on to AlphaTauri. We'll move on to AlphaTauri, but first we do have a new follow. Thank you for the follow, Jex. Thank you for the follow. Absolute scenes. Just reading the chat, so I'm a bit quiet. The chat is absolutely going off. So if you want to partake in these streams, follow us on our Twitch. If you want to support the channel, subscribe as well. You don't have to, but it helps us out. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're so close to 100 subscribers over there. I think we're like 5 away from memory. So this will be up on YouTube as well. So if you haven't watched it on Twitch, watch it on YouTube or vice versa. So we'll move on to AlphaTauri. Yes. So AlphaTauri. Where are they? So, pretty interesting lineup, I've got to say. Both drivers are from Tier 2. Have come down from Tier 2. Rapid Kodia and Elongated. Um, this is interesting because I know what the pace is like from Tier 2 last season. Um, I, I think there could be another midfield team, the 5 to 7 range. I don't think either of them will be fighting both championships, both drivers and constructors. So they're in the same mold as Ferrari. But I don't see them knocking the door onto that top 4. So I think Ferrari and Aston will finish ahead of AlphaTauri. So I think AlphaTauri might finish the year in P7 at the end of the season. I mean, as I said, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But right now, I think P7 for AlphaTauri. Don't think they're going to be... I don't see them getting many podiums, many top 5s. I think they'll scrape the top 10. That 7 to 10 range. Yeah. That's an interesting team. Yeah, I think I've said all I've said, really. I don't think they're going to do anything exciting. I don't think they'll get any podiums. I think they might get like 1 or 2, maybe like P4, P5s due to post-race penalties or something like that. But come race time, yeah, I just don't see that team doing like anything exciting, you know. It might seem harsh, but it's a reality. I mean, the T3 grid is actually pretty stacked. I mean, a number of drivers can win it, but I don't see AlphaTauri, be like, dominating Tier 3 like Mercedes did towards the second half of the season. I don't see them getting like 1-2s, 1-3s, 2-3s, those type of things. As I said, I think they might get like a random P4 at a random track, maybe Singapore. I just don't see them doing anything exciting, to be honest. I hope the team minds are watching and just give your honest thoughts. That's all we ask. Even the commentators, I'm also speaking as a commentator for this stream. Nothing else matters right now as the commentator. I don't see AlphaTauri doing anything exciting. They might get like a random P4, P5 at a random track somewhere, but most of the time I can see them getting like 7 to 10s most races. So I mean, they'll score consistent points, but not big enough points to be like wow, like the wow factor. The chat's probably get the pitchforks ready at me. But yeah, I just don't see them doing anything great this season. As I said, it is a 14 race calendar, so I mean, if they're on the ball early and they get like a solid result at Britain, I mean, the confidence in that team will skyrocket. So yeah, big interesting is the AlphaTauri team. So we'll move swiftly off AlphaTauri. We'll go to Alfa Romeo, Mukping's team, the new TP at Alfa Romeo, the team that finished third in Tier 3 Constructors last season. They have a new driver lineup with a Wash Fullo. I hope I said that correctly. New driver to OCE, so no idea what his pace is like. I have no idea. championship, I'm saying like bottom that 11 to 20 range because I have no idea. It's probably a safe bet at this stage. If he's top 10, great. I'm proving wrong. Awesome. But Easy Reaper is also in that team, driving in that Alfa Romeo seat. Big interesting tactics there from young Mukping in the draft, picking up Easy Reaper. So, finished P2 in T4 last season. Actually, was promoted from T4, so I do apologise, I forgot to mention that. So, Easy comes from T4, finished P2 in the championship. Pretty good driver. As I said, P2 in the championship. I think it's going to be like a duck puncher situation with Easy. I don't think the T3 title will be within reach. I don't think Easy is going to win a race. To be honest. I don't think he's going to win a race. I mean, if he does, great. And then he could just say, no, I told you that I'll win a race when we do podium interviews at a track that he wins at. But at this stage, I think there's one or two drivers quicker than him and Duck Puncher as well. I think those two are going to continue their rivalry from T4. So I'm expecting one Alpine and one Alfa Romeo next to each other, and it'll be Easy and Duck. So I think Easy, probably that 6 to 10 range in the championship. Yeah, I think he'll get like maybe 2 or 3 P5s. I think the rest will be P6 to 10. But as I said, safety cars, penalties, post-race penalties might propel him up a couple of positions, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But if we're going just on the live racing, I think 6 to 10 is probably your best bet for Easy Reaper pretty much every single race. Alfa Romeo. Someone's got to finish 8th, 9th, and 10th. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Alpha could finish 8th, but they could be like tied on points with Aston for all I know, or who did I say? Or AlphaTauri for all I know. So I think Alfa Romeo's battle this season probably going to be with AlphaTauri, maybe Notorious of Aston, maybe Rango of Ferrari as well. So, I mean, it's 2 against 1 most of the time, but yeah, I don't know with Alfa Romeo. I think there'd be a midfield team, but I just don't know what Awash Fullo's pace is like. So, probably an interesting driver to watch out for is Awash. Easy, I know what he's like. He's going to be a consistent point scorer. I think that, as I said, that 6 to 10 range, pretty much every race, he might get like a P5 somewhere chaotic. As I said, probably Singapore probably stands out at this point. Anywhere else, maybe Australia. I think Australia's on the calendar. Maybe France as well. Who knows? So we'll move off Alfa Romeo, move on to the next team, which is Haas. So we won't dwell on Haas too much due to obvious reasons. No disrespect to Itchy Boy. So as I said, Itchy Boy is actually the team principal, and he is in that seat along with X-Laps. I think they're going to be 9 and 10, either one of those two. It's a boy probably pretty... He needs to be consistent. X-laps. Don't know what his pace is like. I think I've raced him like once or twice. Didn't have a great showing last season as well in T3. I think he made Q3, but he DNF'd early on. So, yeah, I think Haas probably a low-scoring team come the season. Yeah, so we'll move off Haas now. We'll go on to Williams now. New team, obviously fresh new faces. So Williams are now with Sultana and Fanatical. It's your boy absolutely going off his head right now. So it's Sultana and Fanatical. So interesting driver lineup for Williams. Sultana won the opening race of T3 last season at Bahrain. Didn't see him again for another few weeks, so hopefully he does all 14 rounds. Fingers crossed for Williams' sake. But in the second half of the season, a couple of podiums, a couple of top fours. In the second last race, he ended up getting P2, so he was like a 10th away from winning. Did Sultana, so big interesting. Fanatical though. I mean, now that I think about it, it is an interesting lineup, but it's not for the right reasons. As I mentioned with Sultana, he missed like a good chunk of the season last season, and the same with Fanatical. So yeah, he started the season, then he went up to Tier 2, so he left T3, went up to Tier 2, came back down to T3, and yeah, he gives up after if there's a lap 1 incident, he just retires. So I get you'll be frustrated, but it's lap 1, a safety car could happen. So Williams probably going to be interesting ones to watch, I think. Over most teams, because don't forget Williams finished second just behind McLaren in the overalls, so it's going to be interesting ever at Williams with Sultana and Fanatical. If they both do all 14 rounds, I could see them being championship contenders in their constructors at least. For drivers, out of the two, probably Fanatical probably has the better chance, but he needs to be consistent. That's one of his downfalls as well. Fanatical is so inconsistent, but if he stays consistent, just gets the podiums that he should get, at least with 14 rounds, he should get at least half those rounds on a podium. So, and Sultana, if he gets top 5s every week, Williams will be a dark horse in that top 4 fight with Alpine, Mercedes, and McLaren. So, big interesting. Yeah, big interesting. Yeah, as I said, Williams probably mid-table team at best, 4 to 8 range. Yeah, big interesting. I've been waffling on for nearly 50 minutes, so I'll wrap it up pretty quickly because we've got one more team to go. So I'm trying not to be biased here because I am the new Red Bull team principal. But as I said, this is just me as the commentator. Please just be mindful of that. So Red Bull, new driver lineup, new TP. Red Bull has Jimmy NZ and the Henchman 21. So both Henchman comes up from T4. Jimmy stays from T3. He had very good showing at the back end of T3. He did 4 races. I think he did 5 races, got 4 podiums. So, I mean, the logic dictates, every 4 out of 5 races, Jimmy's going to get a podium. So, I mean, championship winner right there. No, I'm kidding. I am kidding. But, yeah, Red Bull. This is going to cause some controversy here. I think another midfield team is there's a lot of midfield teams here, so a few teams are going to miss out, but the top three are going to be Mercedes, McLaren, and Alpine, and then everyone else is just fighting for that P4 down. I think Red Bull could be that P4 team. So they'll be battling amongst the Ferrari, Aston. Who else did I say? I think that's it. So, yeah, I think they'll be fighting and Alfa Romeo, that's it, yeah. So, yeah, Red Bull will be fighting the likes of Ferrari, Alfa, and Aston, pretty much most of the time, I would think. I don't see either of them winning a race. I mean, hopefully I could be wrong. Obviously, but as the commentator, I mean, a podium's just as good as a win. Championship wise, I think there'll be midfield drivers. You know, that 6 to 10, 5 to 10 range. I don't think they'll be top 4. Henchman, you know, when he came in and raced in Tier 3 last season, he kept on getting those top 4s. Was annoying the hell of the Williams team principal last season. But, you know, I'm glad to have him on my team now. Yeah, Jimmy, as I said, 4 out of the 5 races last season got a podium, got a couple of P3s, a P2. Didn't win, but he came close to at Saudi. Henchman, as I said, you know, finished P3, I think it was in Tier 4 last season. Or 5, one of the two. He's a top 5 Tier 4 driver from last season. Comes into T3 this season. As I said, probably 6 to 10, 5 to 10 range in the drivers. Yeah, so big, interesting. Red Bull, interesting lineup. So, big, interesting. Wonder what the TB thought about that when he picked those two drivers. Big, interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We are donezo. We are Gucci. That has been the FormulaOCE Tier 3 driver introductions. Hopefully I gave you some things to look forward to. You know, come round 1 at Britain, which is next week. So not this week, the following week. This will be up on YouTube as well. But also to mention, we are having a pre-season race with all 4 tiers. So it's going to be from Thursday to Sunday. All 4 tiers will be involved. I hope, fingers crossed. I think it will be live streamed. I know Tier 3 will be. Not sure about 4, 2, or 1. I think they are. No idea. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Hopefully, I try and give you guys as much information as possible. I know the chat absolutely, probably went off at me at some point saying, "Oh, Fraser, you're wrong at this team." But yeah, until next time, I will see you this Thursday night at I don't know where the track is. Hopefully we'll make an announcement on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, !Twitter. If you want to race, come to our Discord. We do have open spots for T4. All the other tiers are full. But if you want to race, still come down and sign up. We'll just put you in a tier and make you reserve. That's another thing as well. Reserves are going to be done differently this season. So, for example, Tier 3 has 6 reserves. Or technically 5. So those 5 drivers will get first priority from before a Tier 4 driver, gets a seat. So once those 5 are gone, then a Tier 4 driver can race. That's going to happen with every single tier except for Tier 4 because there's no Tier 5. And Tier 3 can't reserve Tier 4. So, yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. Hopefully you had a good Sunday night. Yeah, not sure when Perks, Kahoot, Mitchie are going to do something like this during the week or whenever. No idea. But until next time, I will see you on Thursday for T3 preseason at 7:30. Be there or be square. Thank you ever so much, and goodbye.